Welcome to Behind the Badge with your hosts,
Lieutenant Ryan Williams,
and Officer Tammy Vandermullen.
your source for all things Fondy Police.
KFIZ today on a Friday. That means Behind the Badge. Our weekly visit with the Fond du Lac Police Department. Lieutenant Ryan Williams is back in studio, and you're not retiring.
No, I'm not retiring,
No.
but I am stepping down, and not from law enforcement at all, but from the SWAT team. So the Special Weapons Tactics team from the City of Fond du Lac Police Department. So it's been kind of a emotional week, actually pretty much like 6 months for me. For those who don't know, the SWAT team is basically how we describe it is who the cops call when they need the cops. So we're all just normal officers. In some like big cities, they have like full-time SWAT teams, but thank goodness, Fond du Lac does not need a full-time SWAT team. But they are officers that train extra for those calls that are kind of go above and beyond the scope of what a normal officer may be capable of doing. A lot of those have to do with like hostage rescue situations, but they can span anywhere from like dignitary protection to dealing with a certain level of like suicidal subjects and things of that nature. So when I started, I looked this up today. It was July of July of 2013 was when I passed the it's kind of a standard you have to pass to get on the SWAT team. So There's like a physical test, there's like some scenarios they put you through, and then depending on how you measure up, then you get to join the team. And as you can imagine, you're very close knit with those guys, and you go through a couple of different calls that are more serious and stuff, and you become a very tight knit group. And I think that our SWAT team is definitely that, and we've come a long way. One of the things I know that the public kind of talks about is like the militarization of the police, and do we need these SWAT teams and the intimidation factors. Those kind of things are out there, and I know a couple of things from my tenure on the SWAT team. For one, that I can legitimately sit in front of you and say I've saved people's lives. Like, we have saved people's lives because of training on the SWAT team and preparing for hostage rescue situations where we've had to make a move basically, and we've literally grabbed children out of residences and saved them, brought them to safety. So that's what it's all about, and it's actually the purpose of SWAT is to save lives. It's not to like inflict pain or punishment or anything like that. It's to save lives, right. And we want to do that as safe as we can. Here, me being in Fond du Lac, and you talk about militarization or whatnot, we've been faced with dangers here in Fond du Lac. We have. Obviously, I've talked about my story of being shot in the line of duty. A couple of years after that, we were faced, one of our officers was shot at several times with an automatic weapon, and then during that same standoff, a very large, a 50 caliber weapon was fired. So you wonder, why do they need these armored vehicles? It's because the threats have become greater, and we don't want to live in a society where we have to carry around rifles and stuff like that, but sometimes duty does call above and beyond the scope of what a normal officer can do, and that's what the SWAT team is for. So talk about some of my fondest memories. So we just had 4 SWAT call-outs, and all the guys are kind of coming to me, and they're like, well, you kind of want to stay now. You kind of want to stay, like, because, now you're driven because you're seeing, because we went a whole year. We went a whole year without a SWAT deployment. And we just had 4 weeks of a deployment every week. And they're like, okay, so now you're driven, now you want to stay. And my response to them is, I've always been driven. And I'm not saying that jokingly or anything like that. I have. Like, I run most of the trainings for our SWAT team, and I know that the purpose of them, and I know that that the reason why it's important to train in intense surroundings and to change things up to allow our officers to kind of think for their own, because every situation has its own twist, right? So I try to throw a lot of different twists at them so that they're able to, when they're under a tactical situation, make their own decisions. So it's going to be tough giving up some of that. I'm going to try and keep my distance a little bit, just because I am not a good delegator.
No.
I like, if I'm involved, I like to be very involved. So I'm going to keep my distance for a little bit, but then come back because I'm still ahead of training and stuff like that. So I'm going to make sure that we're still on par, but I'm going to keep some distance so they know how to kind of function without me as far as running training and stuff like that. So, but I don't know if it's my most memorable SWAT call, but I can tell you just last week we had an incident in the city. It was a week and a half ago, I think, and there was kids in the residence, and we had to make entrance, and just so happens I was the guy in the stack that grabbed a young girl and brought her to safety.
Wow.
And me being a father, it was just the young child was very panicky. Obviously there's a lot going on, and as soon as I grabbed her up, like, she calmed down. Like, she, I was talking to her, as a father, hey, it's okay now. We're here to help you. We just want to make sure everybody's okay. And brought her out to our Thames medics, and to safety, and then eventually turned her over to her mother. Now, that call, there was so much involved in that. For number one, most of the things that made that call successful, we didn't have when I started in 2013. So that's a testament that we're actually improving, like, so much from then. We did, and I know it made news, is we made entrance through an explosive breach. That was a capability we didn't have back then. And had we not been able to do that, what it did is it kind of took the person kind of off guard, and we were able to make entrance safely,
Right.
And make sure nobody got hurt. Nobody was hurt in that incident. We were able to enter quickly, and we have done it a couple times on calls. And when we did it, everything that we trained came to fruition, and that is what it's all about. Like, you have to prepare on certain things on explosive breach. So number one, like, if you get the call saying you need to go into this building, you want to go, right? We can't do that with explosive breach. You got to wait for the charge to go off, right?
Yeah.
And we did. Nobody panicked. Everybody was calm. Everyone did exactly what they're supposed to do, and the reward was pulling two kids out of their residence to safety, and everybody, because everybody has bad days and things like that, and if that does end up, then this is my last day, so it will probably end up as my final SWAT call, unless there's something at like the witching hour here that arises. Then that is a good way to go out. That's a home run swing, and something I'll always remember. And to do it with a team of guys that are all in the same mindset, and that you've trained, and we've had fun together. I put them through misery. I put myself through misery, but all with that one single goal in mind of saving lives. And so it's been a really good run. Unfortunately, my 47-year-old knees are not what they used to be, but I'm doing my best, and then with my job and stuff like that, I've been trying to take some things off my plate, and it's time to let the young guys go. And it's so nice when I was sitting on this call 2 weeks ago to realize that, yes, I'm kind of running this team right now, but there's a bunch of leaders on this team, and they are going to be in good hands when I am gone. We did a lot of things as leadership of the team of creating the next leaders, the next person up, right? Like, we immediately added 2 assistant team leaders. So, like, if there's not a team leader on a call, there's an assistant team leader. Like, there's somebody that in training has taken that role. And we actually in training sometimes we'll assign to anybody. We'll just pick random people. You are team leader.
That's great.
So that we're interchangeable, So things like that. Another thing that I was very proud of in my career is we started team competition. So we have 2 SHIELD teams on our SWAT team, and about every month, maybe every other month, we'll just have a team competition. It can be anything. Like whoever's running the training can come up with some sort of drill or exercise, and the winner wins that month. And whoever has the most wins throughout the year, they get to put the year on their flag. So we have a black flag and a blue flag that represent each SHIELD teams, and so we were able to coordinate that, and I've come up with some very creative games, we'll say, to run those team building drills, and that's something that's really cool, and I hope that lives on past me. So yeah, it's something else. It's not like I feel like I'm gone, but I'm still gonna be there,
Yeah.
So it's a little bit weird, and I think a lot of the guys were like, "You're not really leaving. You're not really leaving. You're not really leaving." And I'm like, "I don't know. It's time. I know it's time, but there's always gonna be a reason to stay, though,
Sure. Always.
But I feel like the team's in good hands. I think the city's in good hands with what we have going and how far we've come, and I'm hoping that they keep pushing and keep making themselves better. Like I said, a lot has changed since 2013, and it's going to continue to change with what we're dealing with.
So congratulations to you on one heck of a run, more than 10 years on the SWAT team here, and certainly the growth and success that they've had is a huge reflection on your leadership and your participation in it. So congratulations on that. Look forward to seeing the young guns.
Yes. Maybe I'll bring some in here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, right. Get some guys to bring in here, and
some better need people.
There you go. Yes, better needs. Yeah. All right. It's Behind the Badge, KFIZ today.